Okay. All right. Still nothing. Oh, we are live now. So this just popped up. Wow. Today has been crazy. Let's see if I think that's actually live. Let's go ahead and test the microphone here real quick. I think that's actually live. Let's go ahead and test the microphone here real quick. Yes. All right. Take it. For some reason my software did not want me to start early. But I think we are here now. Should be now. Okay, let's get a chat window popped out so I can see everyone's bright and shiny faces. Do I have dark mode? I do not think that I do. All right. Oh man, I lost my updates as well. Yikes. All right. Can we refresh this page? Very good. So I lost a bunch of my AMA notes. Trying to fiddle around with this live stream thing here right now. And I think we can get rid of this moment. Okay. So, what have we got going on? Let's check out a few things. One is, let's load this up. Fight Club tournament stuff going on. I need to keep up with Libra. See if Libra's awake right now. AMAs. Lots of good stuff in the AMA as usual. So Libra still has a snooze. Yes. All right, we'll wait a little bit. Check out some prices. Crystal down to 13 cents. Look at that plummet. Guys, what do you think's going on with Crystal? Never would have thought it would be sinking down to that low. Can't help but feel that there's some purposeful manipulation going on here. At the same time, Jade rocketing to the moon had been all the way up here at like 45 cents, almost 46 cents. It's taking a bit of a dip down at the moment, down to 38 cents, but my goodness. What are floor heroes looking like in here right now? I think we've just got some crazy manipulation. 15 Jade, dudes. Oh, man. Boom Freak. Everyone just FOMOing over new liquidity pools and Jade summoning event. Yes. I think that is what we are seeing right now. I am surprised that Crystal is taking such a big hit out of that, though. I guess people had saved up a lot of Crystal and did not convert that Crystal over to Jewel yet. It's going to be my guess. My thinking was that people probably converted a lot of their Crystal and were continuing to convert a lot of their Crystal to Jewel on a regular basis. By the looks of this, maybe they weren't. A Jade pump right now seems likely, but I think as soon as the missions start to open up, there's going to be heavy sell pressure, and this is going to radically come back down. Break thinking maybe I dump all item rewards into Crystal. Surely once there's no events and everything's equal, Crystal will be back to the optimal power token use. I agree with that. I think now's like a really good time to buy Crystal. It just seems way undervalued at the moment. I don't know how long you're gonna have to wait for Crystal to, pop back up. It could seriously be as much as a month. And the main reason that I would say that is because the summoning event on Serendale is going to last all the way up until January the 7th. And so I feel that, if I have any spare value for the next month, I'm going to probably be, putting that into Serendale to do summons or to do liquidity pool or something like that while everything is so high over there right now, all the rewards. Look at how it says people are breaking and trading Crystal from their LPs. Yeah, in fact, that is something that I plan to do myself, to be honest. My LPs, in fact, let's go ahead and take a look at that. I was planning on doing the same thing. Actually, take that back. I already did it over here. I already broke that a long time ago. But on this other account, we were considering doing that too. I don't think it was ever voted on, so I don't think we're actually going to do it. But here on the 808 fam account, as an example, in the gardens, we've got a little bit over here. Oops, am I on the wrong blockchain? So, got 81% in Crystal ETH pool right now. 81% APR. I think that we're going to want to possibly move this over. That would definitely create a lot of sell pressure on Crystal right now with all this Crystal stuff. Lucky Duck says 1 crystal jade is 0.5 jewel by January the 1st. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Would not be surprised at, although I think jewel price is going to be higher by then. So right now, jewel price is what? We invert that pair. Jewel is sitting at 27 cents. So I think that jewel might be more like 40 cents. And so 60 cents. Does that mean that we're going to have a 30-cent jewel? Maybe. Could be. Could be. I think that's probably a pretty close number. 1 crystal jades is going to be worth half of a jewel. Speculating into Crystal Veil only items might be a fun idea. Yeah, I think that could be an interesting idea. So we know that right at this moment, Crystal Veil is super undervalued. Let's take a look at what's going on in the tavern right here as well. Do y'all know heroes are 15 jade right now in Serendale? 44 jewel. See, this is not right. I think having a 44 crystal price for these floor heroes here could possibly be true for a couple of reasons, right? One is that the crystal price is so low, so people are trying to set a certain US dollar value on these heroes, so it doesn't go under a certain US dollar value. That is very possible. I think actually more likely is the fact that people are snatching up these floor level heroes to use them in something else, right? Whether they're leveling them up, going to sell them for a higher value later on at higher levels. But I do not think a 44 crystal floor or a 44 jade floor or anything is sustainable for very long. When you can summon Gen 1 or 10 of 10s for 32 crystal or jade. But also at the same time, I don't think that 15 jade heroes at the floor for 15 jade is going to be sustainable either. So all this kind of stuff right now, I think there's some weirdness going on. Some people might be able to take advantage of that, get some good deals. Didn't realize it was lasting that long. Whoops, thanks for the reminder. Yep. I think that's in reference to summoning on Serendale being until January the 7th. Let's see. Could you see many sticking to questing on Serendale for things like Swift Thistle? So, yeah, if we need Swift Thistle, I think some people could be sticking to a specific realm. It's been mentioned even in today's AMA that there will be some realm-specific things. And I think one of the things that was mostly talked about was activities, but I'm going to guess items as well. Swift Thistle could be one of them. Freak says less soul pressure, and the team will come up with something cool for those unused CV only items like Skunk Shade. So I think that there's a lot more item usefulness coming up. One of the things that I'm doing is just kind of saving off all those inventory items, right? So we've got, this is just a little community account, so it doesn't have a ton of items. But on the main account, just saving off all those items, right? They don't necessarily have a purpose right now. So it's not really even what I wanted to show. Over to here. There we go. So, talking, 802, 675, 240, and of course, I don't have a lot compared to other people I've seen that have tons and tons of this stuff. Is a 6-hour stream? Are you asking if this is a 6-hour stream? No. Yesterday we did 8.5 hours. Just all run together. That was pretty long. So this morning on Twitter we did, not Twitter, on Twitch we did 3 hours, and maybe 2 to 3 hours. And here on YouTube we're going to try to do another 3 hours. But I'm not feeling all that great, so we might just go for 1 hour past, or a little bit past emissions openings, right? If we go take a look at, where do I want to be? Let's go over to Clayton. Mookie, how are you doing, Mookie? Look at these heroes over here. 15 Jade for some heroes. Ryan, hey Rock. Did a summons, got a Lego Wizard. Nice. Love those legendaries. Paladin Forger, not bad. So, legendary Wizard, Paladin, Forager. Interesting. Didn't get anything good with my 24% Dark Knight pair. Gonna try an hour. Wish me luck. Oh, yes. Definitely good luck. Want to see y'all doing some summons. Summons are a little bit more expensive over here, I guess, right now, since Jade is currently a little bit on the expensive side. But I think that's going to come down in a little bit. We've come over to the gardens and check out the seed box. I think I need to find another bit of music. What do y'all think? I'm not captivated by this particular song. See what's in the Alchemist. This might be a little too sleepy. That's a little too sleepy, maybe. What about the castle? Lowtech, welcome on in, Lowtech. How you doing? Smashing the thumbs up. Hope you're feeling better today. I don't know if I'm feeling better or not. If I am, it's not by much. But I appreciate the sentiment and the thoughts. We will get over this and through this, but DFK does not rest. We cannot either. And we will survive. All right. So, expected start time in 1 hour and 3 minutes, guys. So that's what we're looking for. And then I'll probably be streaming maybe another 30 minutes into it than that. But I'm thinking about giving my voice a nice long rest today. So no super long stream today. Of course, y'all can go, if you haven't seen the 8.5 hour stream from yesterday when Sarandale first opened up. That was a lot of fun. Getting to see us poke around in there. A whole bunch of people stopped by off and on throughout the whole stream as well. So definitely, there was of course a lot of interesting thoughts and commentary along the way if you haven't seen that one yet. And then of course we got the 3-hour stream this morning from Twitch. I don't know if y'all go back and look at those past streams on Twitch or not. Borko says, you sound better today. Oh, I'm glad I do. I don't necessarily feel better, but I'm glad that I sound better. I'm probably getting a little better. Overeek says, psyched. Thanks for the stream. For all of us at work, we're cool to see these initial APRs. Yes, that's exactly right, Freak. So, a couple of things that some of y'all that were not watching this morning's stream that I want to pop in and talk about. This was one of the big talking points on this morning's stream on Twitch, and that is token emission allocation, right? So, and how much the APRs are going to be and all this other kind of stuff, right? We don't know how much the APRs are going to be. But we know that for this week, December the 8th week, that Jade is going to be pumping out at 960 Jade per minute. 5 of that will be unlocked, 95 of that will be locked. So a whole lot will be locked. But for those of you that have lots of miners or are willing to buy a lot of miners right now, and miners are fairly inexpensive if you want to go take a look at it. So if we jump over into the tavern and we take a look at the agent, buying heroes and looking at attributes for mining and apply, floor level miners sitting at 25, 30 Jade, a lot of 30 Jade right there, right? Already on Sarandale. Some of them might not be the best miners, like wizards, priests, and seers, but you could always come over to the basics and you could look at that. Legionnaires are making fantastic miners these days. But then there's also going to be warriors, knights, berserkers, make good things as well. So 45, 48, 48, you're going to get some decent miners here. Of course, all those are miners. So if you have a bunch of miners, or even if you just have a few, 960 Jade is going to be pumped out per minute. And then that 960 gets split 10% here, 15% there, 5% here, 10% there, and so on. Through all these different liquidity pools. I wouldn't necessarily say that the one Jade and Clay, which is the highest percentage, is going to give you the highest percentage APRs. Because what actually is going to make those APRs for you is the amount of Jade that's going into that pool every minute, and then also the number of people and the amount of dollar values that they've put in to these pools, right? So imagine this one right here, Jade Jewel, being 10%. That means it's getting 96 Jade per minute dropped in here, right? Let's go ahead and not worry about the 5% locked, 95% unlocked for the moment, right? So let's just consider it's all going to be distributed to players. We're going to consider locked and unlocked still an appropriate value. So 96 Jade per minute's coming in here because it's 10% of the 960. Then if you've got 100 people that have equal values of dollar values in here, then that 96 jade is going to get split equally between those 10 people, and they're each going to get 9.6, I'm sorry, they're each going to get 0.96 jade per minute, right? Some will be locked, some will be unlocked. But here, if you've got 2 people that are into the jade of Ox, even though it has 5%, so of course it's getting 48 jade. But if you've only got 2 people, they're each getting 24 jade per minute. Even with the 0.5% or the half amount of pool allocations, because there's less people and less rewards. But if there are still, it's not the amount of people, it's the amount of money. So if there are 2 people in here, and those 2 people have each put in 100,000 US dollars worth of value, and they're only getting 24 jade per minute, that's not going to be a very high APR when you're considering that their investment value that they put in is $100,000 each, right? Of course, if they've only put in $10 each, then getting or splitting 24 jade or 48 jade is going to be huge percentages of APRs. So these APRs that we're going to see are really not very calculable right now. We know how much is getting pumped in every minute. We know what the diversification is between each of these pools. But what's a little bit harder to see, perhaps, is how many people are putting in how much. I guess you can look at a little bit what your pool value is. So you might be able to get a decent idea of a value. This is probably not where we want to be. So I'm looking here, and I see that I've got jade. I see I've got less than 0.01% of the pool share. So I'm getting less than 0.01% of 96 jade per minute. Of course, right at this very moment, I do have a super small amount. I've still got about 5,000 or 4,500 jewel waiting to do something with. Haven't fully decided what I'm going to do with it quite yet. A lot of it, I'm just waiting for the APRs to pop and see what's going to happen. Hopefig says, in the past, I tried to wait until a later epoch strategy, but with the news that they want to make locked tokens usable, I think that I'm going to recompound this time. Yeah, I did hear something about making locked tokens usable for dark summons, isn't that right? At least that? Maybe 4 times? Is that what I heard? You can use 4 times the normal amount of some token, like crystal or whatever, to do a dark summons. That's a pretty interesting approach, I think. I don't know how many people are going to implement that. I think there are some people that are very impatient. Some people might not want to wait around 1 to 2 years. I mean, because we're going to wait around a year before it even begins to be unlocked. And then the unlocking is going to be linear growth unlocking for the next year after that. The Beeve. What's up, guys? You need more tea, Rock. You are right. In fact, I drank 2 cups of tea at lunch, and all I've got right now here with me is some water. But I will drink some water. So how are you feeling, Beeve? Yes, I did add some honey into my tea as well. I've got some local honey. I always prefer local honey. to help with allergy suppression and all that kind of stuff. And raw, unfiltered honey as well, with all the good little nutrients in there. Did you survive without coming down with anything, Beeve? Ryan says, I'm still not 100% sure of the pool I want. That is exactly how I feel, Ryan. I'm going to do 75% with a jewel and something paired depending on the APRs. That's what I'm doing, except I'm probably doing 100%. Then a little degen play with jade and clay, with a small amount of capital 4. Not sure what capital 4 is, unless you just mean capital. And then you mean like the word for, more locked to jade. Yeah. Beeve says, I didn't get sick. Beeve is impenetrable. Congratulations, Beeve. Glad to hear it. These APRs should be interesting to say the least. So, Beeve, you have been around for a while. I respect your input and thoughts on things. What do you think we're going to see for APRs in general, without being specific on any specific one? What are some of the highest APRs that you think we're going to see from these pools? Do you have any ideas or speculation? 4K maybe. I think that's a good one. Yep. I've gone out and already said on stream a couple of times that I think that 5,000% APR is going to be the absolute maximum that I expect to see. If I see anything over 5,000, I am going to be super shocked. All right. I'm really expecting to see something probably between 800% and maybe 1,000% APRs. Although I definitely admit 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 might be something we see certainly within the first hour or 2 or 3 perhaps. And then I think it will quickly go down from there. But see, there's lots of people like Ryan and myself that we're still sitting on the sidelines. We haven't really fully committed to a pool yet. So that's where it gets to be really tricky. I don't think we want to dive in. At least I personally don't want to dive in right away, because I think I want to give it a little bit. I don't think I'm going to be losing out a ton if we wait just a little bit. Here's something to think about, guys. Let's open up this spreadsheet for a minute. And somewhere on this spreadsheet, I've got some I need to make it a little bit more readable for myself. Here we go. Oops. Right in here, I've got a little bit of some spreadsheet stuff set up for US dollar values and high APRs and all this other kind of stuff for like super quick gains, right? So what can you expect in small amount of time? So let's say that you've got 3,000 US dollars, right? And let's say that you've got a 5,000% APR liquidity pool right here, right? If you have that $3,000, or do we want to say 3,000? Is that too high for many of y'all? Let's just say 3,000. Then the daily gains on that are going to be $410 a day, right? At 5,000% APR. So that means that you're going from $3,000 to $150,000 in 1 year, right? That's the 5,000% APR. 3,000 becomes 150,000 in 1 year. To get to 150,000 in 1 year, you need $410 per day, right? If you've got that much and you're looking at 5,000% APR, it's pretty nice, all right? Might not be something to miss out on too much. But if you've got $300, then you're talking about $41 a day, which is still really, really good. But there are some penalties if you pull out early. And so one of the things that I am a little skeptical of is if we see a massively high APR in one of these in the first 10 minutes, does that mean that we want to ape into that? If everyone else apes into this, then that APR is going to go down a lot faster than everything else. And so the thing that you aped into in the first minute or 5 minutes that the APRs open up, then you've kind of did yourself a little disfavor. And if you wait just an hour or 2 hours to see where that kind of settles down a little bit, at least, and you might have a little bit better idea that perhaps one of these other pools might be a little bit better. Maybe, and the reason is because not a lot of people are getting into that. So if everyone is aping into this one and this one and this one over here, and some of these other pools are kind of neglected, those are the pools that I want to get into. The pools that are overlooked by a lot of other people. And I don't know what that's going to be until we actually see that happen and we get into it. Now, there are going to be a lot of people like me as well that are going to do the exact same thing that I am saying right now. They're going to wait. They're going to see the pools that people are neglecting, and they're going to say, that's the pool I'm going to get into. And they're going to jump into those. But you got to make a decision somewhere. So my plan is to probably wait. I definitely want to see what those APRs are going to be with my eyeballs in the first few minutes, because that's the fun. That's when you're going to see, or at least we've seen in the past, 20,000% APRs. Just insanity in the first couple of minutes. Right? That's fun. But you'll quickly see those go down, and I don't think we're going to see anything that high this time. I'd be super shocked to see anything over 5,000. And then even those ones that start off at 3, 4, 5,000, I think are going to quickly go down to 1 or 2,000. Beef says, I'm a wait and see just because the volatility got my popcorn. Exactly right, Beef. That's exactly right. Got my popcorn. I'm going to sit and chill. I'm going to see which one of those everyone's aping into, and that's the one that I'm going to avoid, right? Also, I'm a little hesitant. Ooh, here we go. Oh no, this isn't it. This is Jewel going down to 27 cents. Jade, what's Jade looking like at the moment? Still 37 cents. See, I'm a little skeptical. What do you think of Jade? Everybody out there. What do y'all think of Jade? I'm very skeptical to buy Jade at 37 or 45 cents. I do not think it's going to last very long at this price. I think that there's tons of people out there with hundreds of miners that are going to be mining the heck out of Jade as soon as these emissions open up. They're going to have hundreds and hundreds of miners. We've had so much opportunity this time, unlike when Crystal Veil opened, and heroes were so expensive. And it was also so expensive to summon them. But now we've had months of time with $5, $7, $8 heroes. Most people can afford quite a bit of those. Summoning is cheaper, all this kind of stuff. I have a feeling that there are people out there that have a ton of heroes and mining, and they're going to bring all of those miners to bear on Serendale. And we're going to see so much Jade getting mined from that locked balance. Even though it's 95%, so much of that is going to get mined right away. And then all of that Jade is going to flood the market, because if you're able to pull 300 jade a day, some of these whales pulling 300 jade a day from all of their mining excavations, then why wouldn't you want to sell that at 40 cents a jade? You don't need that much. I think there's going to be a lot of sell pressure coming up on jade within the first 1 or 2 hours. So I'm a little hesitant to buy right now, which is another reason that I kind of want to wait and see what's going to happen here. I definitely have my jewel set aside, 4,600 jewel, ready to get into something. Just haven't figured out what it's going to be. It's going to be jewel and something else. Ryan says, yep, no advantage to jump in early unless you care about in permanent loss, which right now would be the case in Jewel stablecoin already. I was interested to see why Brown Gent is so fixed on Jewel of Ox. That's interesting. So I didn't know he was so fixed on Jewel and Avox. I do believe that Avox is a strong token, but I wouldn't say that it's any stronger than Bitcoin or Ethereum or something. You say you were interested or was interested in seeing. Has he already made a video about that, or do you know that there's an upcoming video about it? Or I do seem to remember a video some time ago about him saying that's one of the ones he was looking at, but he didn't go into the reason why. Maybe that's what you're referring to. Right, says I'd like to, or like, I don't know who's going to buying a Vox on the Clayton chain, right? That's for Crystal Vale, but maybe you know something. So if we come over here and look at this, I'm noticing that, of course, there's Jade options and there's Jewel options for all of these tokens that we know and love, right? Jewel, Clay, Avox, USDT, although I don't know how many people love that, BTC, Ethereum. So because DFK chain is on Avox, or the Avalanche network, then I would say, that would be a reason to have it available. We're just trying to support blockchains, right? We're trying to make moving Jade tokens over to the Avalanche blockchain a little easier, or, to support the community, the back end of everything. So I think that's why you would have it in here. Bitcoin and Ethereum make sense because they're, the blue chip tokens. USDT because you kind of need a stable. Although I am personally, maybe I need to stop saying it because I say it almost every time I even just say USDT, but not happy with the USDT selection. Rather have been USDC, but okay. Beef says, Jade hasn't settled yet. Miners should get a floor bump. Yes. We're looking at that a little bit earlier, and we were noticing that heroes, at least in Serendale right now, are as low as 15 Jade. These are heroes, are miners that are in a fairly good class for doing mining, like warriors, knights. So the lowest on those, warriors, knights, warriors, the floor on those is about 45, 48 Jade, right? But if we reset that and look at floor prices of heroes in general, ooh, looks like someone did sweep the floor a little bit. So there weren't too many at 15 and 17 Jade. It looks like somebody did sweep some of those up. Looks like our lowest ones right now are 19. So somebody came in and did a little bit of sweeping. Where's everyone going to be doing their questing? Gas is a little higher on Serendale. So, it's a really good question. I think that for the time being, because I'm moving over so many of my funds and liquidity pool and and miners and all this kind of stuff to Serendale, I think a lot of that questing will be done on Serendale. Even with the higher gas fees, I think that the income from that will probably be better. Something else that crossed my mind, but I'm not sure if I really want to do it or not, is I was thinking, you know what I could do is I could just move over liquidity pools and just have locked balances start racking up week after week after week, and just not use any heroes on that right now. I haven't given that a lot of thought. It's not something that I think is a good strategy, but it had crossed my mind since gas is a little higher, and I wasn't sure that I really wanted to move over all of my heroes or not to do all the questing. Another possibility that crossed my mind is just move over the gardeners and the miners, and maybe even a minimal amount of them to do the things that I needed to do here, and then do most of my foraging and gardening and all that kind of stuff over on Crystal Vale, except for the fact that I think we're going to see things like Swift Thistle back over in foraging for Serendale, and it will not be available in Crystal Vale. So what do you want? You're looking for specific items? You might need to do it in Serendale anyway. Blockchain Player 1 says, I'm watching Clay versus Jewel. I have some Clay that might pump in the next hour. You have some Clay that might pump in the next hour. You think Clay will pump in the next hour? Just because of the emissions getting released and then people jumping in on that? So Clay probably is fairly low price at the moment. I think the last time we looked at that, look at the last 7 days, for example, it was pretty low yesterday. It's getting a bit of a pump right now. And one of the main reasons that I think it might pump myself, did cross my mind earlier, is because for someone like me, who right now is looking at Jade being overly inflated, more than I would want to spend on that, I have a feeling Jade's going to lose half of its value within a couple of days, maybe a week. And I would hate to be putting 1,000 of my jewel, right, or 2,000. So if I've got 4,500 jewel, I don't want to split this into 2,300 jewel stays as jewel, and another 2,300 jewel goes into some other token. If that some other token is Jade, and then Jade drops in price by 50% once the sell pressure comes on, then I've lost 50% of my value in that. I'm not really interested in doing that. So I thought about, well, what are some other alternatives? And one of the other alternatives is indeed a lower price token like Crystal perhaps, or Clay token. Clay token, if we look at the last month, has been down lower in the past, but it is fairly low right now too. Next hour, that'll grab some jewel and maybe go into a really low crystal. Yeah, that could be true as well. I think crystal right now, look at that, it's still coming down. Crystal's down to 12.7 cents, guys. That is amazing sell pressure on crystal. It's craziness. So what that makes me wonder is, how's that affecting the APRs over in Crystal Vale, right? Because of course the thinking is that people are selling or breaking up their liquidity pools on on Crystal Vale. Let's look at these. We got Crystal BTC at 101%, Crystal Clay 87, 79, 70, 58%, 57. These are actually pretty low APRs. I'm not surprised that people are getting out of this stuff. The APRs on Serendale are going to be in the high hundreds or maybe even low thousands. Right? If I hadn't already gotten out of all my liquidity pools last month from this in preparation for Serendale, I'd definitely be getting out of it now. So I can't blame anybody for that at all. Ryan says, I think Jade will pump one last time to like an hour or two after the gardens. That's very possible. I can see that. People are going to see higher APYs, then put some into those gardens. Yep. So there's going to be a pump of FOMO as people see those super high APRs. And, oh, I got to get in. I got to get in. I got to get in right now. Yeah. Then after a few hours, then we'll see, right? Because I think after a large amount of people FOMO into that, as a huge amount of people dump their funds in, those APRs are going to crash down fast. And that's where I want to see where the dust settles. Where's that dust going to settle? And then you see where to go. Ryan says the sell pressure after the complete garden and mining quests. Yeah. Kind of surprised Jewel is down a little too. Yeah, I'm a little surprised, but not really. I am a little surprised, it's true, but I'm actually not really surprised when you consider, like, for example, me. I might be a prime example where I've got 20 or 4,600 Jewel waiting to be split into something else, right? And so I bet a lot of people did the same thing. We've got all this Jewel that we knew that we were going to be bridging over to Serendale and we were going to get into something, but we don't necessarily know what it is yet. And so here, this is causing a lot of sell pressure. If I'm going to sell 2,300 Jewel in a little bit to pair up with some other token for a liquidity pool, then I'm selling 2,300 Jewel. How many other people are selling thousands of Jewel also to pair up? Okay. So I can definitely see that, although it is a little sad to see Jewel taking that hit. Beeve says, yeah, peeps are leaving Crystal Vale pools. APR should rise eventually. They should. But here's the thing, Beeve, right? Let's take a look at what's happening in Serendale. And I guess we could look at something that's happening more directly in Crystal Vale, but let's use Serendale as an example, right? So Serendale starts off this week right now with 960 Jade per minute getting dumped into the economy. Yep, 95% of it's locked, 5% of it's unlocked. So most of it is going to be locked away, but you can use miners to get to that, right? But over in Serendale, and as you can see here, 960 per minute, 720 per minute, 600 per minute, drops. And so in Crystal Vale, we're already way down here. And remember, the APRs are based on how much token is being dumped into the prize pool every minute. And then that has to be divided by all the prize pool allotments, 10%, 15%. And then that further has to be divided by the number of people and the amount of funds that are in there, which is going to help determine the APR as well. So when we're starting off Serendale at 960 Jade per minute, that is one of the things that's going to boost up those APRs pretty high. But now with Crystal Vale at, and I don't know what the exact numbers are, but as an example, just showing you right here, when you go down, or when we go down to 90 Jade per minute from 960 Jade per minute down here, that's going to radically reduce the APRs by a lot. And so it doesn't matter too much if there are a bunch less people, right? Because the whole amount of funds that go in there are 10 times less, right? And so there would have to be 10 times less money removed, or I should say 10 times, or 90% of the money would have to be removed from what was originally put in there to give those people the same APRs. That's a huge amount that has to be removed, and a lot of people or a lot of money, either way, right? Crypto Grady in the house. How you doing, man? I'm gonna catch up. How are you feeling, Grady? I'm still a little under the weather, but you know, DFK doesn't sleep, neither can we, right? Great to see you here. Hope you're doing well. So it makes sense now. Got to split the jewel. Yeah, you got to split that jewel. And of course that means sell pressure. So it has to be done. It's a little sad because I would have loved to just see jewel rise. But it's only a short-term dump, right? So as people are splitting right now into getting into whatever pools they want to do, once that's split, then maybe over the next week, as an example, we're not going to see much more of a dip past that, I wouldn't think. And then we can start to see jewel rise back into its all-time high glory again. It has to do with transaction activity on Crystal Veil 2, which is going to be dead for the first few days. That's exactly right also, Ryan. So there are some things that have to do with the amount of transactions that are going on, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily dead as F, but I would say it's probably reduced. I've heard that a lot of people are still doing most of their summons on Crystal Veil because it's so much cheaper right now, right? You can summons, I mean, with Crystal being, what, 12 cents? Oh my goodness, look at that. It's crazy. Crystal's 12, 13 cents right now. And all you need is 32 crystal or 60 crystal to do some various summons. I would say if you've got some fiat, as Sir Amir says, buy crystal. If you've got some fiat right now, I don't know if we're going to see much lower crystal prices. Seems like now is a really good time to buy that, because then you're buying crystal at 12 cents. You know, and it doesn't really matter at that point what the value of crystal becomes necessarily, because if you buy your crystal at 12 cents per crystal and you wait a year and then crystal's up in value, you still just paid 12 cents for that summons, right? Or, you know, $3 for that summons or $2 for that summons, because you bought your crystal so cheap years and years ago. Let's see. Sir Amir, welcome on in. Ryan, crypto exchange Bibox just froze withdrawals to be safe out there. Oh my goodness. So Ryan, should we go look that up, or do you have a little bit of input for us? Why would Bibox freeze withdrawals? I have not heard anything at all about them. As far as FTX contagion, is that what it's related to? Rock, are you sick? Your voice sounds raucous. Yes, I am. I am pushing through these streams, but I am not feeling well at all. We're only going to be streaming for another... How long is it now? We're only going to be streaming for another hour at this point. 30 minutes after the emissions. So we're going to watch the emissions take off. We're going to look at those super high APRs. We're going to talk a little bit about what we might be getting into, or what might be a little bit more interesting to get into. We've got 4,600 Jewel right here that we're going to consider getting into some liquidity pool. So we'll need to split this with something else, but we don't know what to split it with quite yet. Be well soon, my friend. Thank you, Sir Mayor. Thanks. Grady says, no surprise on the crystal dump, right? I'm surprised it took this long. Some of that got unlocked as well. So, so Grady, I guess you're right. I guess it is not necessarily a surprise on the crystal dump. Maybe it is surprising that it's dumping now so much when I guess I would have thought it already would have dumped. Maybe I was expecting that dump to have already happened, and so this level of dump is a little bit of a surprise because I thought that we were seeing that earlier, but I guess not. But I mean, you are right, Grady. It's not necessarily a surprise that everyone's dumping their Crystal Veil liquidity pools at 80% APR in expectation to move over to Serendale and get a 800 to 2000% APR liquidity pool, even if it does last just a week or two, right? Yeah, for the Jade Summon event, I'm going to wait till it gets cheaper. Right. We've got some time to go. The Serendale Summon event is all the way until January the 7th, guys. You got plenty of time. I don't think right now, with Jade being as high as it is, I want to be doing a lot of summons on Serendale. I mean, one of the things to think about is if you're somebody like Grady, and maybe Grady, it'd be fun to ask you, are you going to be summoning so many of your heroes back to back to back to back to back, and you need every minute that you can get from now until January the 7th to make sure you summon as many times as you can, so it doesn't really matter the cost of the Jade? Because I feel like there are people like you, Grady, who might not be so concerned about the price of Jade, and you're a lot more concerned about doing as many possible summons as you can with specific heroes, right? And so for those people, I could imagine that they are going to do a ton of summons and it doesn't really matter the price. But for me, I'm not going to be doing very many summons anyway, even if the price of Jade was 15 Jade, right? Or 15 cents per Jade. I don't plan to do that many summons. And so the question I think a lot of us should ask is, how many summons do we plan to do? In other words, do you plan to do 3 summons, 10 summons, 20 summons, 100 summons? Right? And maybe the question then also is, how many raffle tickets do you want? Of course, we want all that we can get, right? But I mean, financially and time-wise, how many do you think you're going to want to do? How many summons? If it's going to take you, let's say it takes you maybe an average of 50 Jade per summons, for an average summons, where you're not doing the cheapest of the cheap, but you're also not dumping in a whole bunch of other stuff. And if you want to consider stones in there as well, then maybe that would be something more like 60 Jade or something, right? If you're going to spend an extra 10 Jade or 5 Jade for a enhancement stone or something, which I kind of would recommend. I'm not sure that a lot of us should be doing summons unless we're doing something where it can have some better, some possibly really good outcomes. Otherwise, might be better to find another summoning pair. It gives you a little bit better outlook. Let's see, are you pre-entertaining gardens? Or are you waiting to see APRs? Apex asks. I'm looking at we've talked about that quite a bit, right? We've talked about the token allocations, the percentages. We talked about how much Jade is going to be pumped out per minute, but we haven't gotten into anything quite yet. It's not totally true. I did get a tiny bit into Jade and Jewel, I think that amount is like 19 tokens. Yeah, 19 pool tokens, which is less than 0.01%. It's hardly anything. It's 22 jewel and 16 jade, so not much of anything right now. But I wanted to do a little bit just to get that in there, I guess, or to have something. But I've got 4,600 more jewel waiting on the sideline, just waiting to see what's going to be best. And I don't think I'm going to jump in there in the first 5 minutes either. I want to let everything settle down a little bit. And as I was showing on the spreadsheet, even with super high APRs like 5,000% APR, if you're starting off with $300 and you even skip the entire first day, you're only missing out on $41 US worth of gain, which is not nothing. $41 is something. But that's just for one day. I mean, you have a whole 24 hours to sit back, relax, and chill. And for me, in the part of the world that I live in, $41 is like the price of a dinner out at a good restaurant for 2 people, right? So if you're taking your loved one out to dinner, fancy date, then I'm losing out on that amount of money just by allowing myself to wait a little bit of time. And that's a full 24 hours, which I don't plan to wait that long anyway. But I do plan to wait anywhere between like maybe 1 and 3 hours, 4 or 5 hours, something like that, maybe, to see how things settle out in the first 3 to 5 hours, perhaps. And even if I do, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to show this spreadsheet to y'all right here, to let y'all see that even if they come out with 5,000% APRs, guys, you don't need to necessarily freak out and ape into something like, oh my goodness, I can't miss 5,000% APR. I got to get in there right now. I'm missing out. If you're talking about putting in $300 US worth of value, 5,000% APR, you're only missing out on $41 if you let it go by a whole 24 hours. It's probably not that much. All right. Let's see. Ike, get well soon. Thanks a lot, man. Sir Ramir, I missed the whole launch yesterday because I was out drinking. Our voices sound alike. Oh my goodness, Sir Ramir. Sorry that you're having to deal with that voice stuff as well. But I don't know if you missed a whole lot, Sir Mayor. We've had a whole 24 hours of no emissions for everyone to get settled in. So it's really good. I'm glad you're here today. This is probably the day to be in. And I think by now you've had plenty of time to get prepared. Probably. So I think that the dev team did it right this time with not having a mission start right away. They've given us plenty of leisure time, and it's been so relaxed. It's felt so much nicer to have this a little bit more time to think about things and what you're going to do. Ryan says, yep, retweeted. Seems like a smaller exchange. Hope everything is okay with everyone. FTX Genesis fallout, I would assume. Could be, right? Smaller exchanges might have an issue with stuff. Of course, maybe, it's something totally unrelated, but still something to be concerned about. So, Ryan, I appreciate the update. Bitbox, it looks like, or Bbox for an exchange. You might want to look at that a little bit. Scomeows is saying hello. Hi there, Mr. Scomeows. Apex, the dump kind of shows that there's not much liquidity in our ecosystem right now. People selling off a power token to get into the new gardens. I agree with that. I think also, and maybe your statement is saying the same thing I'm about to say here too as well, and that is maybe even besides liquidity concerns, I think this also shows that there's just not a lot of people in DFK right now. We don't have a lot of people in here, or money, I guess. And so when a few people want to do something and they're taking their money to go into something else, then all the money leaves, right? All the money. It's like, well, we're all done with Crystal Vale for a while. I'm not necessarily sure that having more people would be any different necessarily, except that it's harder to herd 1 million people to do something rather than 1,000 people to do something, right? If we've got 1,000 people listening to the AMAs, listening to these live streams, and all into Gen Chat for DFK, and they're pretty much staying on top of things, then, you know, we're all sharing ideas, we're all hearing other people's ideas, and we're like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do a little bit of that. And we're all kind of moving with the flow. As new information comes up, we're adjusting our strategies, right? And so there are things where some of us might hear, oh yeah, I guess it's probably a good time to move over there. And as more people get hyped about moving over to Serendale, then I think more people that might not have been into that or had too much of that idea are now getting on the FOMO train, where they're getting a fear of missing out on this thing that they don't really fully know yet. They're going to jump in on that. But it is interesting. I cannot wait for us to have more people in the community that don't necessarily all care about the same things. I think that's going to bring a lot of stability, right, Aphex? Once we have more people in the community that don't all care about the same things, and there's diversity in what people want and that what people are shooting for, then not everybody is going to be moving over their tokens all over the place, or into the same places, I guess I should say. Aphex, Tavern hasn't even adjusted to crystal price. You can tell it's a panic rush not to miss out on APRs. Right. It's a panic rush not to miss out on those APRs. Right. I am so glad that I sold all my liquidity pools back in November. I probably didn't need to quite as early as I did, but it was right before the jewel price really shot up. And so it was just kind of perfect timing. So I've already got all my jewels set up. The only thing I'm a little sad about is I didn't jump on Jade yesterday when it right at least at this moment it looks like I should have. But I do think that we're super inflated right now and it's going to dump back down. So I'm not rushing into Jade for sure. Crystal is actually looking a lot more juicy at this moment. Look at this, 12.7 cents for Crystal right now. If I'm thinking long-term financial stuff, it's much more likely that Crystal is going to have a brighter financial future over the next month than Jade is going to have. Let's see. Been catching up on the stream and everything DeFi Kingdoms. I just love how they managed the whole thing. Big props, absolutely. I think they did a fantastic launch this time. I have to agree with that. I mean, there were a bug here and there, right? Not any big deal. I think they got those bugs squashed pretty quickly, in fact. They had the dev team not taking a break until that was done, which was amazing also. But there really wasn't that many issues. And the game was like 95% up and running right as they were saying it was. I think there was a little something with some quests, some little hiccups with some quests. And I think there was one other thing or two that needed a minor delay, like just maybe an hour delay or something like that. But I mean, overall, what can you expect? This is a huge amount of software to be released. So it's really good. Of course, they did a lot of testing, which is one of the reasons why we don't mind a delay. I think a lot of us were antsy about getting into Serendale. We wanted it right now. Of course, the whole world seems to be very much geared towards instant gratification these days. But I think overall, now that it is open, now that we're looking back, it's really good. How much longer do we got here? 7 minutes, guys. 7 minutes. Look at that. We got a countdown timer right here. Let's go ahead and keep this up. No sense in getting off of this screen anymore. Alpine says, what pools you going to do? So, Alpine, we've been talking about that quite a bit. I think that the pool, of course, I'd be very interested, and I'm sure Alpine is too, what pools all of y'all are planning to get into. And I think a couple of you already have planned to get into specific pools. But I am going to wait a little bit. I'm going to wait about an hour, I think. At least 30 minutes, maybe an hour, 3 hours before I jump into anything. I want to see things settle down a little bit. So we know that there's going to be pool allocations, which don't really mean a lot. I know that some people were basing getting in on Jade Clay based on the sole fact that this thing says 15% right here. And a lot of people might have been avoiding Jade and Avox since it says 5% right there. But that's absolutely the wrong thing to be looking at. Well, I shouldn't say absolutely the wrong thing necessarily, but this definitely does not have the final say at all in what those APRs are going to be. But I think a lot of people looked at these numbers and saw, oh, 15%, 5%, I'm definitely going for Jade Clay. Boom, done, on it, right? And that was it. But if everybody's thinking that exact same thing, and hundreds of people are getting into this pool, then your 15% allotment is going to be so diluted that you're going to get hardly anything. Whereas if not very many people even considered Jade and Avox, then its 5% is not going to be very diluted. So you'll ultimately have higher APRs by putting your money into Jade and Avox. Right? So for me, I want the high APRs. And the high APRs, I don't know what those are going to be until the emissions actually open in 5 more minutes. And then even after that, I think there's a lot of people that are doing exactly what I'm doing and what I'm explaining to y'all as well. So some of y'all might be getting the same ideas as me, just to wait a little bit. You're not going to miss out on too much. If I'm showing you right here that a 5,000% APR is not something to ape in on, if you got $300 of USD value, you're only going to miss out on $41 if you're waiting an entire 24 hours at 5,000% APR. It's not that big a deal to wait a couple hours, guys. So if you do ape right in right away, and a lot of people, let's say that there's 500 people that are waiting to ape right in the first 10 minutes. And if all those 500 people look at whatever is the highest APR and all 500 people jump into the highest APR, whatever that is, then that's going to dilute the APR also. So, and then you're stuck in there, right? You can't move that money out for a certain number of days or a week without taking the penalty. So I'm waiting. What was Jewel at the bottom? Jewel's bottom. So Jewel at the bottom was around, I think, 11 cents, right? If we come over here and we look at Jewel tokens, and we look at, it looks pretty deep right now, doesn't it? But if we look back at all, then we can see way, way back in the past, if you want to go all the way back here, that we were down to 24 cents, I guess, way back last year. There's 28 cents. I thought it got down lower than that, though. I thought it got down lower than 28 cents. Could I be mistaken, or could I be looking at a wrong chart? DeFi Kingdoms Jewel. Let's look at this one instead. All. There we go. That's what I want to really be looking at. This chart looks much better. So if we come down here and we zoom in right here, Let's close out from that. So we're looking at somewhere down in here is the lowest. Let's pull past that. So it looks like our lowest was right in here. That was 15 cents. 15.31 cents, I guess. Right there on October the 16th. Which, by the way, is about when I dumped all of my liquidity pool stuff. Actually, I did that on October the 19th. So right around in here. Let's get back over here to this. Look at this. We've got 2 minutes left, guys. 2 minutes. Crypto Grady says, I think Jade pools will have by far the highest APRs because everyone is staying away from Jade. So it might be Jade to pump in the short. I think a lot of people... Grady, you're saying people are staying away from Jade because it's a little bit more inflated right now, the price? I mean, that's why that is indeed one reason why I'm staying away from Jade right at this very moment. I mean, that is technically true. I think Jade's too high. I don't want to pay 37 cents for Jade right now. I think it's going to crash down. I don't want to buy a bunch of Jade right now at 38 cents or 40 cents and then have it crash to 50% of that value down to 20 cents in a week. Right? I really do think that Jade is ultimately on its way down to somewhere in the 20-cent range. 25 cents possibly, sure. But if you're buying a lot of Jade right now, you hope you have a strategy, because I think that thing's going to crash out. Look at this, 57 seconds. Here we go, guys. We're going to catch up in chat. Isn't Crystal about to hit Jewel's bottom? I think Crystal is right at Jewel's bottom, yes. Self, how you doing? I'm in this for the long run, so I'd rather have them do it properly than rush anything else. Absolutely right. Only have enough for Jewel of Ox right now. I hear you there. If APRs aren't what you think, will you just not get into them and stay away? No, I will definitely get into some APRs. The Serendale APRs are going to be way better than Crystal Veil APRs. I'm not surprised that people are dumping out of their Crystal Veil liquidity pools to get into Serendale. Umfreaks is stuck at work, so I diversify between all Jewel, Clay, Avox pairs, not to miss the first APRs. Like 10% of my money in Jade, Jewel, Jade, Clay, some Jade. I picked up around 25 cents. That sounds really good. I expect that you're going to get some good stuff. Figure I have a bunch of gardeners. Woo, here we go, guys. It is it. 0% APRs, 10%. Pool allocations, 10%, 10%. APRs, look at this. Billions. Jewel OUSDT, what is that? Thousands, millions, billions, trillions, 30 quadrillion %. Saw it here first. Look at this. Thousands, 38 million %, 134,000 %, 61,000 %, 55,000 %, 41,000 %, 40,000 %, 21,000 %, 14,000 %. Jewel Clay, 1,000%, 1,900% APR. Why is that so low? Dang, dudes. Look at this one. 30 quadrillion %. Is that serious? Do I need to jump in there right now? Is there like 0 people in here? Is that why this is like nobody thought to get in Jewel USDT at all? I've got some Jewel. I'll buy some USDT. We'll do it. We'll do that right now. We'll just get something in there. Market, Central, Trader, Jewel. Let's say 100 into OUDST. Swap. Confirm. I'm just going to challenge that 30 quadrillion %. Confirm. I don't think it's really 30 quadrillion %, by the way, guys. Let's go to the Druid next. Let's see. Gardens, Druid. Buy seeds. OUDST. Jewel. 100. 394 Jewel. Oh. Is that only 25? Approve. Freak says, oops, here I was thinking I was diversified. I missed the quadrillion % APR. Right? I don't think you're really missing out, Infred. We'll see here in a minute, but I strongly, strongly doubt that that is actually 30 quadrillion % APR. But if it is, we're going to get in on it. All right. Let's back up. Let's get into a seed box. Let's see. Yeah, man, still sick. It is. We are, yes, still sick. That Jewel USDT, absolutely right. So, Jewel USDT, look at this. 26 quadrillion. We're going to deposit. I think something is wrong with it. So there we go. We got something in there. Harvest rate, 1.6 jade per second. Let's back out of that, come back in. Let's do a refresh, and let's see if now that some more people are getting in. Jewel, USDT, 24 quadrillion. That's thousands, millions, billions, trillions, quadrillions. 24 quadrillion %. I don't think that that's right. $6,000% for Jade and Jewel. I've deposited some. Let's view my harvest. Already got a little bit there. Not a ton of summoning yet. I don't have a ton of money. Oh, Grady, I hear you, man. I hear you. Freak says, I vote the community account liquidates everything into the 26 quadrillion APR pool, and then we buy an island next week. Man, I don't know, guys. I mean, we have the community account that's sitting into Crystal and Ethereum pool right now on Serendale. We definitely need to vote what to do with that. We've got $300, I think, of value in Crystal Ethereum pool for our community account. Jade Jewel is showing 6,000% APR, Apex says. I think that's probably more realistic. I've got to think that something is out of whack. There's like a decimal, there's like lots of decimal points missing from here, I think. But it's fun to get in, right? If we take a look at and manage this, we've got a tiny deposit. So this is also really interesting. I had $25 US and 100 Jewel. So how is that getting me 0.00049 of a liquidity pool token, right? Although, look at this. My unclaimed jade harvest is 0.02 from here. And for jade jewel, it's 0.02 here as well. Could it be possible that the unclaimed jade is reading unclaimed jade from my whole account and not just from this one garden pool? Is that what I'm actually seeing? Jade jewel 0.308. Jewel USDT 0.364. Tell you what, I think I need to experiment around a little with this a little bit more. Let's go ahead and go back to the marketplace one more time real quick. Back into the trader. Let's get back over here to Jewel. And let's just do another 100 tokens for OUSDT. Another $25, right? Zabu! Howdy y'all, hope you're feeling better. I'm feeling a little bit better, but still under the weather. How are you doing, Zabu? So let's go into the gardens. Let's take a look at our druid. Let's buy seeds again. We're going to buy Jewel OUSDT. And we're going to say max. And then we're going to say supply. Can't complain, but I will. Oh my goodness. Here, let's go ahead and confirm this on the blockchain. So Zabu, have you gotten settled into liquidity pools yet? The emissions just opened up. We're seeing APRs. Some of these APRs are astounding. Much higher than I was thinking they would be right off the bat. I guess I shouldn't say that, because when you've got very, very few people in right here, then, you know, maybe so. Maybe expecting or maybe seeing some of these tens of thousands of percent APRs is what we would expect. Clay pumped a bit there. We'll wait on the sideliners for now. They live, yes. They are live. Actually, I need to reject that for a minute. Let's check our druid. Watching player, they pumped, Clay pumped for a bit, but it's going to wait on the sideline. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting on the sideline too. I'm having fun playing around with this very interesting Jewel OSDT or USDT pool. I don't think it's real. I mean, it can't be, right? Why is this not showing liquidity for the other tokens I have? There we go. Manage. Total pool tokens in reward pool. So I'm missing 0.00005. .00005. All right. Sergeant says, real or not, it doesn't hurt to put a few bucks in. Yeah. I mean, if you're getting really 26 quadrillion % APR, then, yeah, putting $1 or $2 in will get you a quadrillion dollars real fast, right? But I don't really think that it's that much. And the reason is because look at our unclaimed values here, right? It's not really going up very fast in the amount of jade that we're getting. Locked and unlocked balances here. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest all of this. Is that due to the low share or liquidity? So I don't really know. Well, I think it's a typo in some kind of I think it's really a typo somewhere that's making it look like that. Let's try this again. I don't think it actually succeeded. MetaMask says, looks like claimed rewards failed. So let's go ahead and try this again. Yeah, formula error maybe. Yeah. But it does look like the rewards that are actually being given are probably in line with what they should be, right? I don't see that I'm getting a huge amount of dollar value that I shouldn't be getting. If we take a look in the seed box as an example, Jewel USDT is at 19 quadrillion % APR supposedly. But if we go in and manage that and look at my Jewel USDT values in here, you'll see that if that was really 26 quadrillion, I'd be having a lot more jade available to be harvested right now, because I put in about $100 US worth of value into here. $50 of it is USDT and $50 of it is in Jewel. And wow, that does seem to be going up a little quick though, doesn't it? 0.06 now. And if we look at Jade Jewel, that is also 0.06. 0.0603. Or 1.6 jade per second. Sergeant says, I was already picking out my Lambo, Rock. Absolutely. I think I would go right to the Buy Lambo Now page. I wish I could have these two screens up side by side. Oh, you know what? I think I can actually. Let's just go to the gardens on another screen, actually. So here's an interesting thing to look at. Here, let's get this pulled up into here. Here's an interesting thing to look at, guys. So here we're looking at Jade Jewel. Here we're looking at Jewel USDT. And Jade Jewel seems to be, I mean, these numbers are different. All right. But I don't think that the Jewel OUSDT is outrageously more than the Jade Jewel thing. So the 26 quadrillion percent APR is not, it's what we're seeing, but that's definitely not true. I've got about $100, 100 US dollars of value into this Jewel OUSDT pool. And I've got about 50 US dollars worth of value into the Jade Jewel pool right now. So it's not a lot in either one, but the Jewel USDT is about twice as much. So you would be expecting about twice as fast of a gain. And so again, the 1,000 or the 26 quadrillion percent APR is not that much. How much did you put in each pool? Yeah, so we can take a look at that if we want to. Right here. Let's go over to the gardens and the Druid. So I've got Jade and Jewel, or Jewel and Jade, and Jewel and USDT. So for Jewel and Jade, I've got 21 Jewel and 17 Jade. So whatever that comes out to be, it's not a lot of money, right? I suppose we could figure that out by coming over here and doing something like 21 plus or times, this is Jewel, and Jewel is about, what, 30 cents right now? Oops, that was 20 cents. Let's clear that. Where's the clear button? This one is putting up here. 30 cents. So it's about, and then multiply that times both sides of the pool. So it's only about $12 into there. So I'm going to assume that with only $12 in here, already bringing as fast APR as it is, that probably the Jade Jewel is higher APR than the Jewel USDT. So Jewel USDT, if we look at that here and manage, I've got $51 of USDT, and remember it has to be matched on the other side with Jewel. So it's about $104 total in that pool. So it's about as, maybe as much as 8 times as much value in Jewel USDT, but it's only getting twice as much reward, 8 times as much value put in. So it means it's a lower APR. And so if we look at the seed box and we look at those two right here, this one's down to about 4,800% APR. And I'm going to assume then that this one's probably close to maybe 3,000% APR. Yeah, 14 quadrillion is definitely not accurate. If we click in here to manage it, all right, let's see here. Sabu says pre-ordering potato skins. Absolutely right. With Lambo money, you can choose any color. APR seems to be twice as much as get a specimen of actual APR. Yeah, so, man, Jade dumped hard. Guess everyone FOMO'd into Jewel, USDT. That would be crazy if everyone did. If everyone saw that like 14, 24 quadrillion percent and they FOMO'd into that, oh, that would be so sad. I mean, really, really sad. Because the APRs, of course, are not much of anything at all. So if we take a look at the price of Jade right now, look at that. That's what I'm expecting. Yes, that's a much harder dump than I would have thought, and much faster than I would have thought. That's crazy. But I was expecting Jade to come back down. Now might be a good time to get into Jade, perhaps. Well, I don't want to say that. I do think it's coming down lower, but at least right now I'm not quite so worried that I'm going to lose 50% of its value overnight, which, look at all that. It's crazy. It's an insane drop for Jade. Hope y'all didn't FOMO into there. Stay safe, guys. I can only do so much. If y'all run out on your own, of course, no, I shouldn't. I take that back. Do your own thing, guys. I do not know what's going on. I do not even want to give the impression that I do. Mr. Zipper just confirmed numbers are not correct in Gen Chat. Yeah, I didn't think so. Specifically, Jewel USDT pool is my guess, right? I think the other numbers are probably accurate. Look at that Jade dump. Hope y'all were not in it. Yeah, that's a pretty big drop from 40 cents down to 27 cents. It's a 30% drop from up here. I don't think it's done dropping either. I don't. So what do we got here? We're earning a little bit of Jade. Earning a little bit of Jade from two different pools. Yeah, I'm going to be pulling out of probably the Jewel USDT. I don't know, you know. I need to be in something. Jade might be an okay thing to buy at the moment, but I'm still a little hesitant to buy Jade, even at 25. $0.27. Jewel USDT is 3.8K right now. Confirmed by Sashi in discussion. Nice. 3.8K. That's about what I thought it was, right? Well, I guess I guessed pretty well on that. Sergeant says Lambo, I guess meant limbo. Just a little bit longer for that Lambo, Sergeant. Get yourself into one of these pools over the next, I'd say 5 hours or something. No rush on these. But I would say within the next, 5 or 6 hours, we will see these percentages look a little bit more balanced out. If you want to get in sooner, of course, I don't want to stop you from getting in sooner. Get in as soon as you want. But for right now, I mean, this Jewel ETH. Jewel ETH is at 23 million percent APR. That doesn't seem right either, right? 88,000% APR. Jewel in a box. Is this really true? Jade Jewel The one that I was first planning to get into seems to have the lowest percent APR for some of these. Are all these other real? Maybe we should go check out Gen Chat, who's ever in there, and asking Sasha. I mean, we're seeing 39,000%, 26,000%, 24,000%. Is that really real also? Because if so, those are the ones to get into, and not this measly 5,000% APR. Let's see, Ryan says, don't we have to wait like a day or two unless we get slapped with a withdrawal penalty? Yeah, you do. And that's why I'm not aping into anything right at this moment, right? Not aping into anything right at this moment because I don't want to get hit. I don't want to jump into something that didn't turn out to be the right thing and then have to, and then be stuck in there for a couple of days with that withdrawal penalty. So, what I'm doing right now, I mean, you're talking small amounts of money is what I've got in these things right here. So definitely not aped into anything. I haven't. I've got plenty of money off on the side. I've still got 4,254 Jewel waiting off on the sideline to be split up in some kind of ways to go into those pools. So lots and lots of money sitting off on the sides to get into a pool. Not going to ape into that. So then it's just a matter of figuring out what of those pools are actually going to be a little bit better to get into. And I'm not in any hurry. Remember, we saw the spreadsheet a little bit earlier where I was pointing out that even at 5,000% APR, you're only talking about missing out on $41 US in a 24-hour period. Of course, if you've got 15 quadrillion percent APR, it's another story. Or if this is actually accurate, if you've got 24 million percent APR, I don't think it is. Ryan says, I want a garden. The quests are not loading. So Ryan, are you talking about actually questing right now? You want to go questing, or do you want to be investing into a garden? Degens only know how to ape. Oh. Degens gonna get wrecked. The high increase in APY increase garden rewards per se. Let's get back to that in just a minute. Brady says, an ARB opportunity, be careful not to buy Jewel right now on Crystal Vale. Better to buy Clayton tokens and send it over. Yeah, there's some dangerous stuff going on right now. I think there's a lot of interesting market manipulation happening right now. So Ryan again says, does high increase in APYs increase garden rewards per se? It increases your garden rewards, right? So this APR, actually, not APY, but this APR is, and these down here too, of course, are your returns based on how much money you've put in and how much you're getting back. So if you put in $1,000 and over a course of a year, you get 1,000 additional dollars back, then that's 100% APR. You get 100% of what you put in 1 year later, right? And so you will, so a higher percent APR, like 200% APR, will get you $2,000 back instead of just $1,000 back in a year. And so in that aspect, yes, a higher APR does seem to show you individually that you're getting more money back per year or more money back faster. But the actual money that's going into the liquidity pool is staying the same. So the rewards themselves are not actually increased, or the the global rewards are not increasing, if that's what your question is, right? So in other words, there's only 960 Jade per minute of rewards, period. The game is only giving us 960 Jade per minute. That 960 Jade per minute, and by the way, that's only this week. Next week it'll be something different. Week after that it'll be something different. Week after that it'll be something different. So you definitely want to get in this week and not wait a whole week or a week after or a week after, because in 3 weeks of waiting, the total amount of rewards getting spewed out at us drops in half, from 960 to 480 per minute. And so just in the first 4 weeks, half of the value is going to go away right there. In other words, your APR is going to drop in half just in the first 4 weeks. And that's if everything else stays the same. In other words, you don't put any more money in, no one else puts any more money in, no one else takes any money out. If like hands off, everything's just off, then the rewards are still going to drop, or your APR is still going to drop 50% of what it is now by 4 weeks from now. So not only do you have to take into this account that you're getting 960, or the game is giving us 960 Jade per minute, but it's also dividing that 960 into all these different pools. So 10% of 960 is 96. So 96 Jade is going in here every minute. 96 Jade is going into this one every minute. 96 Jade is going into this one every minute. And all of this totals out to be the full 960 Jade per minute getting split into all these different pools. And then what happens, once you know that 96 Jade is going into this pool every minute, is we have to find out how many people put money in here and how much money did they all put in. Because if one person put in $32 worth, and somebody else put $64 worth, so 2/3, then they'd be getting 2/3 of the rewards of that 96. You'd be getting 1/3 of the reward from that 96. Okay. So it depends on how many people are in here and how much money they put in to see how it actually is going to go. Miss Els, well, come on in. How you doing? Let's see. Ryan says, I went to buy the castle, and by the castle loaded fine. The gardens, I went to see and send on the gardens, just wouldn't load, so it's weird. So I've noticed a little bit of slowness in the gardens also. I think that's just because everybody's hitting it right now. If I load the page with the gardens, you'll see it might take a second to load. When I click on seed box, notice it's not loading right away. Spinning wheels, taking time. I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then finally it does load. And then if I click on to manage one of these, and it's waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting right here as well. Before it finally shows up with something, right? All right, so let's get out of here and get back. Jewel is about full cent cheaper on Erindale. It's interesting. Our bots be out. Yes, indeed. Ryan, you're saying quest rewards. Oh, from quest rewards. I see. I must have misread that. I'm sorry. So quest rewards from gardening in a pool with higher APYs. I don't think, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not think you get higher quest rewards for pools with higher APRs or Ys. I do think, well, in fact, I know you get higher gardening rewards if you have more money in any of those garden pools, and you are sending gardeners to the garden pools that you are actually invested in. So if you've got $10 invested in whichever one, I don't think it matters, then you're going to be getting garden rewards based on that $10 of value. If you've got $100 or $1,000, you'll be getting a lot more garden rewards from, or because you've got a lot more invested dollar value into those pools. I could be mistaken, but I do not think that the garden rewards have anything to do with the APRs of those pools. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so here's what we're looking at right now. Our Jewel OUSDT, which actually has about $100 worth of value in there, is going up here. But again, we've already got confirmation from Sachet that it's a lower percent APR. So I'm glad I didn't put a whole lot in. We're going to keep it in there because if we try to withdraw right now, it's going to say we've got an 8% withdrawal fee. Yikes. This is why y'all don't want to ape into anything today, because you're like, oh, I just want to play around. Oops, there's an 8% withdrawal fee. Not good at all, right? So I just put a little bit of money in here to test this out, and we'll wait for the withdrawal fees to go down. But at this point, I'm not positive that this would be a liquidity pool that I even want to get into. But to be honest, I haven't fully decided yet. Hey Grady, how you feeling these days? Are you planning to do a stream today? I'm thinking about ending here pretty soon. I know that all of our viewers want more DFK content. More DFK content. I need to rest my vocal cords. And now that we see what the emissions are, I think I feel pretty satisfied with what's going on here, right? So guys, as I start to wrap up, probably in the next 10 minutes or so, we're not going to leave y'all out right this minute, but as I start to wrap up pretty soon, here's my strategy for the next several hours, since I'm not going to be on stream. And that is, I'm going to be checking back in the gardens maybe every 30 minutes. I'm probably also going to be looking at the price of tokens and see what's going on with, you know, Jade and Crystal and Jewel and all these kind of things. What's going on with Crystal? What's going on with Jewel? What's going on with Jade? And I don't want to buy in. Like Jade has popped back up again. I'm scared to get in at a 32-cent price. All right. I think that's market manipulation. Somebody's trying to trap you. Be safe. Don't get trapped. All right. But I just want to look around and I want to see where these APRs kind of fall into. So 5,500 for this one. Ah, look at here. Finally, Jewel OUSDT is finally back at a proper 4,400% APR, which that sounds right. That does sound more accurate. Looking at some of these others, I am curious though, is Jade ETH actually 40,000% APR? Is Jade WBTC actually 33,000% APR? Does anyone have any input on those? Have we asked people in DFK Discord chat? Crypto Grady says, I'm still sick, man. Mythic Squad tonight and Intergrove. Oh, nice. Okay. All right, guys. So that helps me to feel really good that y'all are going to be taken care of with some streaming content later today. Grady, hope you're feeling better, man. I'm a little under the weather myself, so I know that that does not feel good. So I think what I would like to see in chat, and maybe something that I would do too fairly soon, is I might go and I might check out some Discord stuff and see, you know, what are they saying? Are those percentages actually 40,000% APR? Are those actually correct? There is a pinned message. I think that's other things. Let's see. Yeah. It's okay. No Lambo yet. That was a pretty high percent APR. Tosh is going to be hanging out with Inner Grove tonight, too. Nice. I haven't seen Tosh in a while. Miss the guy. Let's see here. See what, maybe the highest one I'm going to get into. Jewel BTC. $9,000 what? 9,609. Yeah, I know it's going to come down, dude. All right. Let's see. It was the same when CV arrived. They just launched, that's why. I'm in Jade PTC, 33,000% APR. Yeah, I think y'all are missing the point. There was a bug in Jewel OUSDT, and the percentage was not actually the real percentage. See, where can we see the price of Jade? So let me drop you a link for the price of Jade right here. Mr. AVR Freak, I dropped you a link. It's going to be to this deck screener page right here, and you can see the price of Jade and Jewel and a couple of other things if you need to or want to right here. So if you're not too familiar with this little web interface, just make sure that if you want to be looking at prices, that for Jade, that Jade is on the left side of this. If you want to be looking at Jewel prices, you can come up to these three little dots invert the pair. And now that Jewel is on the left side of this list, then this is the current price of Jewel right now, 24 cents. All right. And so if you want the price of Jade, make sure Jade's on the left-hand side, and that's the price of Jade. And then you can zoom out and zoom in with the roll wheel. You can drag, you can click and drag this around a little bit. If you need to zoom in on something specific, click and drag to wherever you need to be. You can look at it per minute, per hour, all that kind of stuff. Crypto Grady, Robinhood says, do you think Jewel will even out on both blockchains? Yeah, let's hear what Grady has to say on that. Let's see here. Yep, already collected 50 Jade. Very good. All righty. Our bots will do it. Grady says, yep. Our bots will definitely take care of that. All right, guys. So like I said, I'm going to rest my voice a little bit. I'm going to head on out, take care of some things, take care of my voice, drink some tea, all that kind of good stuff. Appreciate y'all being here. Check out Inner Grove later tonight. I think Tosh might be on there. Check out Mythic Squad. I think they're going to be on later tonight as well. Crypto Grady, I hope you're feeling better soon. And let's see, I will be on live stream in Twitch tomorrow morning for another 3 hours on Twitch in the morning, and then another 3 hours on YouTube about the same time tomorrow. Until then, I'm just going to be hanging out, looking at the gardens, moving some tokens around. And like I said, guys, I don't think there's a massive, huge rush, but I would say to get into something a little early. If these APRs are actually 34%, 32,000%, 34,000%, throw a little bit of something at those. I don't know where those are going to fall in the long term, but might be good. I see that a lot of these that have super high APRs are with Jade. If you're going to be buying Jade right now, I would say caution, because I think Jade is going to drop in value quite a bit. But I mean, that is where the big percentages are. And even if Jade drops by a decent percentage, if you're making 34,000% APR for the next day, or even if you're making it only for half a day, that's still a pretty good chunk of money. In fact, if we go back to the spreadsheet and we look at 34,000% APR rather than just 5,000, like I was saying, your daily gains for $300 are like almost $300. You're almost making 100% APR per day. It's not 100% APR anymore, since that means annual, yearly percentage rate, but you're doubling your money every day, every single 24-hour period. Or I shouldn't say you're doubling your money every 24-hour period. You're getting your initial investment back every 24-hour period. Now, we don't expect it to sit at 34,000% APR, not even for one 24-hour period. But, even if it drops in half of its value, still might be worth it to get in there, right? Anyway, guys, I'm going to head on out. I'll see y'all later. Let's go ahead and head out to the docks, I guess. Get a little bit of music going. All right, any last questions? Looks like everybody's good. It's Love Crypto. Hey, Love Crypto. Great to see you back. Another account. It's always good to have a couple accounts, I guess. Crypto Grady saying, love you guys. Love y'all too. All right, folks. I think it's going to wrap it up for me for today. See y'all tomorrow. Until then, rock out.